It's fun and it's terrifying at the same time. And everything goes right. Oh, yeah. If you everything goes wrong, it's yeah, 100%. But like so, like me, I'm a freelance. So like they can have people to provide you. But since I know they already have to do it for months, you can tell me that you know, and keep training. But also
Stays the same. Carlos, were you going to ask me who's something that you're on? Kenny? You're on a 10-fight winning streak. How do we make it?
No, that's good. I had it on here as like a note, but I mean, I was pretty much, start like, that's my fighting club or, excitement level for it. How it's like changed since the Contender Series. It's fighting every 3 or 4 months, is at the ideal pace.
Nice.
They're keeping it pretty active. Why do you think that is? We got the call from Magny, what we're doing, what was the reaction? What was the win over Neil be the biggest win of your career? Talk about Neil is dangerous. Do you see this fight as your entrance to the top 15?
Yes.
What are your keys to victory?
I'm going to ask Neil, like, hey, not only are you on the main event, and we were kind of like, I don't want to close the gate.
Yeah.
Defending your rank. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And I mean, you try.
No, that's about it. I just had one other one, which was with a win here, how many more fights until you think you could break into the top 10, top 5, perhaps vying for a title in happening in 2025. And I did see something, if you want to put on your list, I think I saw somewhere with Kevin Iole. Craig, I don't know if it was an interview that said that showed how Prates was asking for a fight with Morales in Brazil because he's showing that there's potential. That's the guy that just fought Magny that last time.
What's up, guys?
Morning, bud.
Reinier, do me a favor, give me the proper pronunciation of your name.
Reinier de Ridder.
Yeah.
Or go RDR. This is the way for you guys.
sounds much easier for me. First, welcome to the UFC. How are you feeling?
It's amazing. It's very cool to finally be here. I've been talking to you guys about this for years, and that's finally here. So yeah, I'm very happy.
I'm looking at my notes. You're 34, if I'm not correct. Was the move to the UFC something that you thought that was going to happen maybe before? Was it? I know you were having great success in other leagues, the one and everything. Did you ever think that you would get here before? Was the goal to get here before 34, or is this the perfect time for you to make your entrance into the UFC?
To be honest, I never really think like this. It is here right now. I'm gonna make sure I capitalize on this moment. That's all that there is to it. I've had a lot of good years, a lot of good success. I've been fairly inactive over the last couple of years, and I'm happy to be able to be making up for those lost years now.
Well, jump back, and when you were at one, you left one, you retired after the loss, and then you were back shortly after that. What was the reasoning with the retirement? Did the itch not go away and you want to get back, or what was the reasoning behind that?
No, there was no retirement. This is more of
get me out of my contract.
No, there was no retirement, and then I had to leave. I had to go because there's no fights. There's no guys there. It's running out. I had to go.
And now when you're looking at the UFC, I mean, your excitement level in that aspect has to be pretty exciting when you're looking at this whole new talent of...
Yeah, that's so cool, man. Finally, after all these years of talking about all the top guys, to finally be close to getting them is very cool.
And why middleweight? recently, I mean, you fought it before. I tried to look in the records. I think 2018 was one of the last times I saw it. You fought at middleweight. Why the decision to come down into 185?
Yeah, so this is like my normal weight class. In one, I fought at 205, but it was with the hydration test and stuff. Remember, so you couldn't really cut weight, but then a lot of people figured out you could cut weight. So, but I always just fought at middleweight in one as well at 205. But now here, it's fairly doable. It's fairly manageable to make 185. It's not an issue. And if I fight at light heavyweight, the guys are going to be a lot bigger than me, which might be something that's down the line. But I'll have a look at middleweight first, yeah.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, if that's the kind of thing, because we've seen fighters make that decision when they want to jump back and forth just to stay busy.
Yeah.
But you're hoping you stay busy, but you want to keep the busyness in 185 at this point.
Well, for now, yeah. So if anything last minute shows up, I would definitely, how do I say this? Consider 205. But 185 is the weight class which fits me best. Yeah.
And I know it's your UFC debut. There's lots to be excited about, but you're also used to fighting in big arenas. Is it still going to be? It's the UFC Apex. It's not a big arena, but is the excitement level still there, having your debut here in the UFC Apex, or would you rather if it was maybe in front of a larger crowd?
A large crowd would be very cool as well. So maybe somebody can get hurt for New York next week, and I can step in. Who knows?
You like quick turnarounds, huh?
We'll see. But let's. The most important thing is Gerald first. It's a very cool matchup. It's cool that it's here. It's so nice to experience the PI, to get to know you guys here around the UFC. Yeah. See what I can do.
Well, you bring up the PI. I think one of the things that interests fighters about the UFC, and let alone some fighters move to Las Vegas, is the Performance Institute. What are your thoughts initially of the Performance Institute and the access that now you can go in there and train anytime you want?
Yeah, it's amazing. The way they've helped me with the weight cut, they've really made it a lot easier for me. Training is great. We can use the recovery stuff there. It's an awesome resource. But I don't think I can bring my kids to Las Vegas. It's a bit too much here.
A lot of people still raise their kids, but I mean, you never know. Coming in this fight, and you don't have to give me particular numbers, but how heavy were you coming into this fight week? How much do you typically have to cut for a fight week? And now that you're cutting down to middleweight, was this a large cut that you had to?
The last time I really cut weight was over 6 years ago to get to middleweight, and normally when I go to 205, it's just a couple of kilos. So I skip carbs for a couple of days and I make the weight. Eat a little bit less Indian food in Singapore and skip some of the pad thai, and then I'm good to go. But this time I think I'm just pretty normal for any middleweight. The weight I cut is pretty similar to anybody does, and I think there's guys who even cut more weight. It's looking like I'm gonna make it pretty easily. So yeah, I'm pretty content with how this one is going, and I think I can do this a couple times more.
Nice. And you mentioned Gerald. Talk to me about how much. Is this a guy you've seen fight before? Were you able to look up some tape on him? And what were your initial thoughts on him? And where is he dangerous? And what do you need to look out for when you get into the cage?
Yeah, definitely. So to be honest, if I can ever get close to one of the records he holds, it would be amazing. So cool to see him fight. I've always watched his fights, and this is a great thing as well for this fight. There's so much tape to study. He has so much fights. He has a really typical style, ways he finishes fights are very typical. He has a few things that he's very dangerous at. He has a few things he does which I think I can really capitalize on as well. But it's a great matchup. I'm very happy that they've given me him for my first fight. As he is a veteran, he's a real name, and I think if I can really put a stamp on this one, I can start. I have some leverage to start calling out some bigger names.
That's awesome. And for UFC fans that maybe haven't seen your fighting style in other organizations, how would you tell the UFC fans, describe your fight style to them?
Yeah, so expect me to come out guns blazing, putting a lot of pressure on my opponent, hitting him with some good shots, hopefully, taking him down not too long after, and then choking him out shortly after as well. So that's pretty much the game plan normally.
And I know it's your debut. I mean, is any win a good win, or do you really want to go out there and have a nice, flashy, emphatic finish or a big win to make your splash into the UFC?
Nah, a win is not enough in this one. The top dogs finished Gerald, and I want to prove I'm one of them. So, yeah.
And last for me, your keys to the victory. What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday?
I need to start aggressively fast. I need to push him from the start, and I need to see that neck and choke him out.
Thank you, RDR, for taking the time. Let me just circle back real quick when you mentioned you pretty much you're like, okay, I'm the big fish now. I've kind of just ran the course. I need to get out of here. How did you come to that realization? And I respect that so much to want to be able to challenge yourself and come to the big league and be like, okay, this is where I need to be. I've already done that. I need to go to that next level and really take my career to the top.
Yeah, so I basically just between fights I got parked for endless time. I was at times begging for fights, and it never happened. So it was time to move on to some more professionalism.
Yes, sir. And it's kind of I'm sure it would be almost like a dream come true or off the bucket list to say, I'm fighting in Vegas, I'm in the Apex, and that main card. I mean, I know timing isn't always perfect, but does it get more perfect than this?
Nah, it's great. I'm very happy to be here. And this is something I've really set my mind on. I'm gonna try and enjoy it a bit more this time. So I've ran the course of a normal MMA career maybe already. I've been the challenger. I've been the champion. I've lost it all. I've won again. And I kind of at times I think I've been in the future a bit too much, always thinking ahead. So this time I really want to take it all in, enjoy every moment, take some more time to, enjoy it all. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So we get RDR 2.0 on the biggest stage. And last for me, just for fun, do the kids get to watch the fights at all? Are they involved in the fight game with you?
Not yet. So my boy is 4, my girl is 6. It's a bit too much still, but they're in the gym, so they see me work. They're not really interested anyway, so.
You never know; they're always watching.
My boy, he really likes it. So he takes my coaches down and he trains a bit with the kids. My girl likes different stuff, but that's nice as well.
That's awesome, sir. Well, good luck on Saturday, and welcome.
Thank you, sir.
How are you? Good morning.
Nardo, right?
Yes,
Sopaj?
yes.
My man. I had to look it up to make sure I said it correctly.
It is, yeah.
Well, welcome to UFC Fight Week. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I feel great. I'm excited for the fight. Yes, I'm ready.
Can you tell me the origins of the Lion King? How you got that nickname and where did that come from?
Is because when I was young, I just like lions, as a king of the jungle, and that's why I said, okay, I'm gonna call myself Lion King.
Is that what you envision of yourself when you enter the cage?
Exactly. I feel like it, I feel like I'm the king of the jungle.
So when you're opposite of somebody in the cage, there is no intimidation factor
No.
coming from them. It's all you onto them.
Exactly. It's my case, so I'm the hunter inside there.
Your fight got bumped up to the co-main event.
Yeah.
When did you find out about that? And did that up the excitement or the pressure going in?
No pressure. I feel very good, very confident. This gives me excitement, I feel very good. I learned about this yesterday, I think, something like that. Yesterday, yes. So I feel very good about it, and I'm very happy, very happy.
Does it make it feel a little extra special? I'm sure you wanted to get a co-main here soon at some point, but to get it for this, I mean, that had to be a nice little surprise.
Yeah, it feels amazing, man. I have no words. I wanna just thank the UFC, the matchmakers, Dan, everybody. That I feel very good. I'm very grateful.
And let's look at the guy opposite of the cage, Ricky Turcios. When you got that name, what are your thoughts on him, and where is he dangerous, and what do you need to look out for?
So he's a good fighter, all-round fighter. He's a little bit weird style, He's like a street fighter. Yes, but I believe I'm better than him everywhere. I'm a most complete fighter than him, stronger than him, and more technical.
When you mention a fighter that has sort of a weird style, is
Yes.
there a part where that's kind of exciting because you never know what you're going to get, that you kind of have to enter into a flow state out there to kind of see it coming? Does that excite you when somebody has a little awkward style?
Not actually, because I believe in myself. I don't care what he throws, It doesn't matter what he throws. I know that whatever he throws, I can see it, I can take it. So, it doesn't make me feel nothing,
So typically when you're training in your fight camps, you're more focused particularly on your skill set as
Yes.
opposed to what your opponent might possibly bring out there.
Exactly.
Awesome. And I know that you're looking to hopefully get your first UFC victory.
Yes.
If you can get that this week, what would that mean for your career, for your family, and just for yourself of all the hard work?
Just one step closer to what I want. One step closer to the belt. Because I'm here to take the belt, nothing else. I didn't come here to celebrate the victory, I didn't come here to say that I'm a UFC fighter. If I would come here for this, then it would be the wrong decision, Because when I started with the MMA, I said to myself, okay, if I want to do this, then I have to be the best. So to be in the UFC for me is just the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yep.
My goal is to be the best. My goal is to get the belt and be the greatest fighter.
Have you set sort of a time frame in your head of when you'd like to?
Yes, I'm learning every day. I'm young, still young, 24. I learn every day. So the good thing is that I learn very fast. I grow very fast. So I believe around to get the belt, I believe I need like 2 years maximum, 2.5 years. I just need to be active, learn, and I will get there. I know I will get there.
And that all starts on Saturday. Your keys to the victory for Saturday. What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday?
Yeah, I just need to do what I've been working for a long time. I just need to be myself, and the victory will come because I am a better fighter. I believe in my skills. I just need to stay in the plan, just follow the plan.
Another thanks for taking
Yes.
the time.
Thank you.
A little something you talked about with Kenny, just pretty much in essence, what you said was your strengths compared to you're not looking at the fight or looking at the tape, just being consumed by that, and that's very smart.
Yes.
To focus on you. What would you say your strengths are going into this? Where
Compared to my opponent,
Yes.
everything. I'm better striker than him. I'm a better grappler than him. A better wrestler. I'm a better fighter than him. More technical. Everything is better. What I do, what I will do, will show it. You know, it will be shown.
Excellent. You are here in Vegas. There's so many resources that the UFC provides. How has training been? The preparation? Did you use the PI at all? Anything extra?
Yes, training has been great. I've been training for a very long time for this fight. Actually, I trained since July. You know, we start slowly and we push the pace. So it's been like 4 months for training. And I did a lot of sparrings, you know, a lot of rounds. So we came here in Vegas like 1 week ago. So we're used to the jet lag, you know, because we come from Sweden. It's a 8 hours difference. So yeah, we train at the PI. The training have been great. The guys there, they helped me a lot, you know, with PT, with the food there, everything, supplements. So it's been great. It's been great.
Well done. That's fantastic. How important is it to properly acclimate from one side of the world to the other? Or
Yes.
is that even a factor?
Yeah, it's very different, you know. In Sweden, it's very humid. Here it's very dry, you know. It's very dry, so that's why we came earlier, so we get used to the weather, you know. We get used to for the jet lag. Yeah, so right now I feel great. I feel like home.
That's awesome, man. And something real interesting you brought up is obviously your goal, the end game, the top of the mountain, to get that UFC gold. We're almost done with the year, and let's say you get that win on Saturday. What is 2025 looking like? How active do you want to stay? How quickly do you want to get a ranked guy? What does that next year look like?
So whatever the UFC give me, you know, I'm ready for everything. Whenever they decide to give me a ranked guy, I'm ready for everyone. I told you I'm still growing, you know. So after the fight, I will go back home and continue with the training. So the 2025, I just want to be active. Like I want to make 3 to 4 fights, and yeah, stick to the plan.
That sounds excellent. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you
Good
very
luck on
much.
Saturday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
are you, man? Morning. Hey, Kenny's. First I saw you with the hoodie. I'm like, is he hiding from us? Like, we see you. We see you.
Starting to get a little bit colder here, huh? Than what you're typically used to, huh? Weather-wise. I see the sweatshirt. Is it a little bit colder here than what you're normally used to?
No, I just put the jacket because
They want you to cover up your shirt.
I had to cover my shirt.
But it is a nice sweatshirt, though. It is a nice sweatshirt, you know.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah. It's fight week. What's your excitement level coming in? You're main eventing this weekend. You know, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. It's a pleasure. It's a huge honor fight against New Magny, and I can't wait to step in the octagon and fight him.
And before we get to Neil, you know, we saw you here for the Contender Series, you know, some years back now. How much has life changed since that Contender Series to where you are now, main eventing here at the Apex?
It's changed a lot because it's 10 months, 4 fights in 10 months. I have been training so hard, and to be honest, I'm gonna fight New Magny Saturday, and then I looking for fight in Australia, February, and then take a little break, you know, to take care about my body, my health. But it's good also. It's still I keeping training and fights is good also. But now it's time to, like I like to say, think with my brain, not with my heart, you know.
Yeah, because you've been pretty active. The last few fights been, you know, every 3-4 months. So when you say take a little break, are you talking 5 months maybe in between, 6 months, you know?
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 months, you know, because I getting a lot of injuries, my feet and my back, my neck, and things like that. So, you know, it's good, make money,
Yeah.
fighting a lot, but now I'm after get the win against New Magny, I will be on the rank, so the fight's gonna be more, how can I say, hard.
Yep.
To win, tough opponents. So it's time to take care about the health, about my body, and then fight when I be 100%.
You know, and you mentioned fighting so much within 1 year. We have a lot of fighters that are trying to fight 3 or 4 times. Why do you think the UFC has decided you're the guy that should be fighting so often? What do you think they see in you that they keep booking you for fights?
I don't know, because I asked for the fight because I finished the fights really fast. I think it's the main reason, you know.
Yeah.
I always finish the fight and then ask to fight maybe in 2 months or things like that. Ask to fight somebody when they do interview at the octagon.
Well, what were you, when they called to tell you the Neil Magny fight, what were you doing and what was your initial reaction when they gave you the name?
Bro, to be honest, I had a fight I would fight against Handbrow, but 16 November.
Oh, yeah, in
Yeah,
New York.
New York, yeah. And I was really happy with that opportunity to fight in Madison Square Garden on same day of John Jones. But he said something, he posted like something he would fight me 7 December. I didn't understand why. And then UFC gave me the fight against New Magny on the main event. And I was really excited. And on the day, my manager said the same day he called me and say, you're gonna fight New Magny. No, don't gonna fight Randy Brown anymore. And I was like on the gym, and then he called me and say, hey, you don't wanna fight Randy Brown, but you have a new opponent, but 1 week before. And I was like, no way. I don't wanna fight 1 week before. And he say, it's the main event against New Magny. And I was like, of course, let's go. I was really happy at the moment, and it's a really good opportunity.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure fighting in Madison Square Garden would be something that you want to have for your career, but by them giving you the main event, that kind of softened the blow a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's better. You know, I think Randy Brown is easier fight than New Magny. He's much easy money, but you know, the main event, we get the bonus to fight the main event also.
Poster.
More money, yeah. And also the main event and the biggest show in the world. I think is a better change.
Is that a fight, the fight with Randy Brown, is that a fight that you'd still like to visit at some point? Or if you get this win and, well, first, if you get this win, you feel that this fight should bring you into the top 15 if you take this win here?
Yeah, I'm gonna win Saturday, and then I'm gonna be on the rank. So yeah, I think it will be really important to get the win against Magny.
And if you get that win, I mean, is that fight with Brown still a fight that you want, or is that in the back? Is that the rearview mirror now? That fight's gone.
No, I have no reason to fight that guy. I really would love to fight him, knock him out, and get one more bonus. But you know, I'm gonna come to the rank, so it's no reason to fight somebody out of the rank.
You know, Neil Magny, a tough fighter. You know, he's very gritty in there. You know, tell me where he's dangerous and what sort of stuff are you expecting from him out there in the octagon?
I expected a really good fight, have a really good cardio. He have a really good strategy. Have a lot of fights in UFC. He know like every point of the octagon. You know, he have the guy with the most wins welterweight division, the most fights in welterweight division. So yeah, I need to take care about his experience. He know how to keep the fight on the good way to him. So I need to take care about that.
Would this be the biggest win in your career, you think?
I think so. I think so.
And if you get the victory on Saturday, your timeline, looking at 2025, I know this fight could take you in the top 15. Do you think 2025 there's potential you can make it into the top 10, maybe in the top 5?
I think so. I think so. After I get the win, probably I will fight. I want fight 2 or 3 times maximum in 2025, and probably in Australia, and then 1 or 2 more times.
You definitely like staying busy, that's for sure. Yeah. Looking at Saturday, what are your keys to the victory? What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised in victory?
I think I need to defend the takedowns and just do what I have been doing the last fights, hurting my opponent and making him give up.
Carlos, thanks for taking the time. You mentioned, you know, we're talking about this gritty veteran. That name comes across the table, and you know who Neil is. Besides adjusting to that and acclimating, how much different has camp been for a 5-round fight, a main event fight, more media, more, you know, the lights are brighter?
For me, it's not too different, you know. I trained hard for this fight. I did a good strategy with my team. So it don't change too much. I don't think about like, now I'm gonna fight 5 rounds. So no, I just train to fight. Like when I do sparring, I don't do 3 rounds. I do 5 rounds and things like that. But for me, it's the same thing.
I'm sure for every fighter on their bucket list is to fight, like Kenny mentioned, Madison Square Garden, Las Vegas. But how was the talks like when you first known, okay, I'm going to be on this poster. I'm the main event guy. How was that when you talked to friends, family, your manager?
Yeah, I think everybody is happy. My team, my teammates, my family, my mom, my wife, everybody is happy. And, you know, I have been paying the price for the last years, working hard, fighting a lot, and now it's time to shine.
How great is it that the UFC recognizes that? A hardworking guy such as yourself, 10-fight win streak, which is crazy, and now you're on this main event. Yeah,
it's great. It's great. I see, like, how I can explain. I don't know the right word, but it's great, you know. Like, I think UFC, they give me that opportunity to see how much they can bet on me.
So they recognize you. They recognize your game. You're undefeated in the UFC. How do we stay undefeated this weekend?
Say again?
You're undefeated in the UFC, besides that 10-fight win streak that we talked about. How do you get the job done this weekend? Are you predicting a finish, 25 minutes of hard work?
Yeah, I pretend to finish the fight, doing the same thing what I have been doing, you know, like feeling the fight on the beginning. He start to hurt him, and then when he get hurt, he think like, I cannot get hit for 25 minutes, and then he gonna try to rush, and then he gonna give me space to finish the fight.
Excellent. Well, thank you for taking the time, and good luck on Saturday, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
forgot how good your English is.
Yeah, man.
When I didn't see a translate coming, I was like, is this English that good? Your English is perfect.
I was in the past.
It's very good, dude.
Gerald, always good to see you. This fight week stash coming in strong again.
Yeah, absolutely.
How you feeling coming in this fight week?
I feel really good. Camp went great. Coming off of 2 victories this year, and weight's in a good spot, so we're all good to go.
You have all this momentum moving forward, and they give you this killer that's coming in from out of the organization, former champ. Does that excite you? I mean, like, what are your thoughts? I mean, is that a reward for your work, or is that questionable? Like, you're like, why am I getting this new guy making his debut over into the UFC?
I mean, I think it's a good thing. I think there's a lot more. I think a lot more people know about de Ridder than maybe some of the people that only follow UFC give him credit for. Like, he is tough. He had a lot of belts in one FC, so that's nothing to shake your head at. And it's fun to be the one to welcome in somebody who was a double champ in a different organization, because I think it says a lot about me if I can go out there and get that finish on Saturday.
And I know he spoke very highly of you. He said he's been watching your fights as well. You got a lot of fights under your record as well, so it definitely a wealth of him to kind of be able to look and see what you've done as well. But you kind of touched on it a little bit there, but give me your thoughts on him as an opponent. Where's he dangerous, and what sort of things are you sort of expecting to see out there on Saturday?
I expect him to be at his best. He's a very, very good grappler. I mean, especially like straight jiu-jitsu style grappling, I think he's one of the last guys that like really goes out there and implements that in his game plan. I was just saying in a different interview that he's definitely more in the style of like a Gunnar Nelson or a Damian Maia, and I think he's just as dangerous as either of those guys. You know what I mean? He's got a very long build. He doesn't have like the traditional wrestling that you would think of for takedowns, but he has a lot of tricky little judo trips. He's good at get a holding people and jumping on their back, even though he's a big lanky guy. He kind of uses that to his advantage. And when he does get you down, he's going to work to like keep good top pressure and pass to get to that submission. It's probably not going to be as much ground and pound or striking and like riding wrestling control like that, but he's very good at getting to the sub. Obviously, throughout his career, most of his wins are by submission. And if he doesn't get the submission, you got to deal with that guy being clung to you for 15 or 25 minutes, depending on if you got a title fight or not. So he's definitely a game opponent.
And this is a guy that hasn't fought at middleweight since like maybe 2018. He looked fine when we saw him in there earlier. Is that ever something that you think about, coming in? Like, is there any worry if he's going to make weight, or is there the thought of maybe he's going to have a hard cut, maybe he's going to be depleted? Are these the sort of things when you think about somebody that is making a move back to a division that you've been in for a while?
I was surprised that he was coming in at 85, just because I think 205 would have been fine for him too. But I'm concentrated on myself feeling good and making weight, and if he says he can make it, I believe him. You know what I mean? If it's maybe it'll be a little bit harder than he's thinking, just because, like you said, it's been a while. But he would know better than anybody whether or not he can make the weight. And if he was really following like the 1FC style, like he was fully hydrated and making 205, then I have no doubt he'll make 185 just fine.
And I mean, well, speaking of something like that, when somebody's going to be coming in and possibly has a big weight cut, does that affect the game plan? Is that the kind of thing that when you're coming in there, do you want to try to push them early, or to try to deplete them early if it was a hard cut? Or is that just the sort of thing that you don't think about and it'll just show itself as the rounds go on, as time goes on, if they did have a hard cut?
Yeah, I wouldn't really factor that in too much. Unless it was something where they were known to gas a lot and you knew they had a hard cut, then maybe that would play into your hand a little bit. But we're so close to the fight now. All the training and the game planning has, been done weeks ago. So there's not really much you're going to add now.
And I know he's coming in here hoping to use your experience, your name, to kind of make a name for himself. But, with the victory here, kind of what does that do for you? And give me your overall thoughts on where the division is right now.
It's definitely exciting. There's a lot of movement. I mean, we see the past couple of weeks, there's a lot of guys kind of moving around, especially in the top 5. I think a win over de Ridder, if I win impressively enough, it could put me at number 15, but it definitely puts me in the conversation for fighting ranked guys. Absolutely. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Is that a goal? I mean, obviously you want to get the win on Saturday, but top 15, top 10, is that the immediate goal for 2024 or 2025?
To fight somebody that's ranked, that would be I said win on Saturday. I would either like to fight someone ranked after that, or just give me anybody with like a decent name on a big card, because like fighting somebody high in the rankings is important, but getting eyeballs on you and having great performances is just as, if not more so, important. So I would be fine with either of those. Like, even if it was like another debut guy who's has some kind of backing and is really tough, if it was on like the main card of a huge pay-per-view, I'd be more than happy with that. Not that I get to make that decision, but if I got my choice, that's what I would pick.
Well, I mean, speaking of, I mean, if you had your choice, I'm sure you'd like to fight in front of fans. I mean, you do feel that you fight a little bit differently if there's more fans available to watch you fight.
Yeah, I don't know if it makes a difference. The sound is definitely different. It's
Yeah.
definitely cool. But I've said this so many times, I love fighting in front of fans. The atmosphere of a stadium, there's like nothing to compare it to. But the Apex is great. The crowds are always star-studded. And again, if it's for a way for guys to make money and like fight more often, I'm all for it.
And looking at like what the construction going on next year, you never know that the layout might be a little bit different in here as well. Just on Saturday, your keys to the victory. What needs to happen to make sure you get your arm raised on Saturday?
I plan on being in his face and dictating the pace of the fight and where it goes. You know what I mean? If I sit back and let him do what he wants to do, and you let him get started, especially someone who's really good at grappling. Like if you get to a dominant position, you got to work really hard to get out of that position and start to get your own offense off. So just make sure that I stay on the A side and I do the decision making and I decide where the fight goes and give him, don't let it be one-way traffic anywhere. Try to kind of bully him, and I think that's the key to victory.
Thanks for taking the time. You've been there, done that, and now we have a guy with a title reign, 2 divisions outside of the UFC. They talked about these UFC jitters. Do you think that's a thing for him this weekend, and you'll have a mental edge at all?
I didn't experience it. I mean, it was a long time ago, but like I had a lot of fights before I got to the UFC, and I wasn't even on anything, big. I was on local shows, right? So, could it be real? It could be, but I don't know. I think that comes down to the individual, and whether or not that makes a difference. I'm not sure it's going to matter in this fight.
All right. We've seen you so much, and you're just a veteran in the game. Always treat people with respect and bring that level of expertise. With what you have going on this weekend with the main card, is there a little bit of a homecoming since you're so comfortable at Apex? You seem so chill all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've fought here a lot, man. So, for me, it's if you're not going to have a huge crowd, it is nice. Everything's right here. The PI's next door. The UFC staff's always great. It's easy to get everywhere. Whatever you need, you can find in Vegas for sure. So, I guess, yeah, this is like kind of my home away from home at this point.
Are there any, and that's awesome, by the way. That's such an advantage. Are there anything new that you could share with us that you added to this fight camp, to your bag of tricks, anything, little tweaks here and there?
Nothing crazy. I mean, the only thing that I did a little bit differently was I was a lot more disciplined on so for strength and conditioning, instead of, doing exactly what I had been doing before, I followed an outline, but just got back to super basic stuff, just building good old-fashioned horsepower, heavy lifts, heavy movements, heavy back squats, heavy bench, nothing crazy as far as accessory movements, just enough to keep my joints intact, but just good old-fashioned powerlifting to add some extra stopping power.
That's awesome, man. And last for me, the way you describe them, clearly someone has been studying tape. Do you welcome it going to the mat? Kind of like, yeah, man, let me show me what you got.
Yeah, I'm ready for wherever it goes. You know what I mean? Like I said, as long as I'm the one dictating the pace and pushing forward into him, I'm fine with whatever happens.
Yes, sir. Well, can't wait to see it, and good luck on Saturday.
You mentioned that the powerlifting. Sorry, I know a lot of times when we hear fighters come in, they when they tend to lift, they talked about more like just functional lifting. Enough to work speed and strength. But powerlifting and lifting heavy, is that something that's always been part of your training regime, or is that something that you've taken on more as you've gone on in the sport and as you've got older?
It's kind of always been part of it, but it's just there was a lot of other stuff that maybe I didn't have time for. I just focused on the meat and potato stuff. And really I'm not powerlifting to be a powerlifter, right? But you do big heavy movements that will check all the boxes. You're going to move faster. You're going to you do a heavy squat, you're going to get higher foot force production, which is ultimately going to help everything else. Now, you still got to sprint and do other stuff to make sure that transfers, but getting stronger will improve everything. Heavy bench press, same exact thing. I think all guys do is when they say, oh, I do functional stuff, they either A, don't actually understand what they're talking about, or they're just not including that they also do that. And some guys are naturally freakishly strong, but, the low-hanging fruit for anybody that wants to get in shape, but especially professional athletes, is move heavy stuff, get enough sleep, and eat like an adult. So.
Thank you very much.
Cool. I love it. Love that lifting talk. Once you started talking about heavy, I was like, oh shit, I'm getting back on. Let's go.
That's awesome. That last part, I thought you were talking to me personally. I was like,
So we meet again. Hello, gentlemen.
Got the headband, the braids, ready to
That's a forehead concealment device.
As we age, our foreheads do get much, much larger. Hair runs to the back. First, I want to say, next week we got Veterans Day coming up, so I want to say thank you again for your service. I think a lot of people forget that you did serve
For sure.
sometime.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate that.
speaking of, going back to your time with that, I know we've asked you in the past, but, since it is coming up, I figure I ask you more. You were training MMA while you were still with the Army National Guard, right?
Yeah. So I started training MMA mixed martial arts my senior year of high school, and then shortly after graduating from high school, I immediately left for the Army. I literally graduated on a Saturday, and I was on a plane to basic training come Monday. But once I got in the military, there's different options to kind of practice what could be considered mixed martial arts as far as combative training and that kind of stuff. And since I already had a love or a passion for that kind of stuff, I just kind of gravitated naturally towards combative training and that kind of thing. So I was able to work my way from level 1 instructor all the way up to level 4 instructor, and also compete on the Army combative team for a couple years as well.
And you deployed into Operation Iraqi Freedom?
Yeah. So 2007 to 2008, I was deployed for Operation Iraqi Freedom.
What was your typical occupation? You don't have to talk about Iraqi Freedom, but what were you doing while you were enlisted?
So I was very fortunate to be assigned to a medical group during my time overseas. So it was different, medical operation that we were doing while we were there. It was just, it's been a pretty fortunate time in my life, just kind of be able to be around fellow comrades and that kind of thing, and just kind of share that experience and be able to be the best help that we can to others during our time there.
While you were training, you said you could either take combative training, but you were doing it because it was something you loved. Did you ever envision at that time when you were doing that someday your career would be full-time MMA?
No, not at all. I thought I was in the Army for 20 years. I definitely had a passion for it, definitely wished I had an opportunity to ever compete for it full-time, but it was just one of those things that I kept submerging myself into it more and more. So it was like doing tournaments on base for Army combatives and doing the combative team that we meet up twice a year for it. And I was like, all right, let me try my hand at amateur fighting, let me try my hand at pro fighting. So it was just one of those things that I kept progressing at time after time. And as I excelled at it, I was like, oh, cool, let me take this to the next level. Even when I came back from that deployment, I was fortunate enough to go to school at Southern Illinois University, which is in Edwardsville, Illinois. And just in the town next door was Granite City, Illinois. And during that time, Matt Hughes, Mark Fiore, and Robbie Lauder had opened up his squad. And during that time, I was like, oh, sweet, there's an MMA gym right up the street. So as a 19, 20-year-old kid, I walked in there to kind of get some training with those guys just to stay consistent. And it ended up being a huge blessing for me, being able to test myself with guys like Robbie Lauder, Matt Hughes, consistent basis. It definitely set the bar high for what I could attain and let me know it was attainable.
And definitely, you think of it as foreshadowing. If you're starting your career and and those are the level of guys that you were training with and that you had access to, it certainly bodes well to why your experience and why your longevity in this sport has been there.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely been fortunate. During the school year, I'll spend time down at Granite City training with Matt Hughes and Robbie Lawler. And then during the summer break, fall break, winter break, that kind of stuff, I head back up to Chicago and I'll be training with Miguel Torres. And if you know anything about Miguel Torres and Matt Hughes, those are two completely different fight styles. Matt Hughes is all about taking the fight to the ground, top pressure, ground and pound, and that kind of stuff. And Miguel is a very relentless striker who has good jiu-jitsu, so he's able to fight off his back pretty well. So having a combination of those two guys early on, kind of gave me a comfort in fighting, letting me know, oh, cool, regardless of where the fight goes, I'm okay. I'll fight from my back. I'll fight from the top position. I'll fight on my feet. I'll just fight wherever the fight goes. I'm happy about it. I'm comfortable with it. I'm just excited to go out there and fight.
Well, it certainly kind of gives insight, too, and I think when people think of your fight style, they don't think of it as just being one particular thing. They don't think, oh, well, he's just a striker, or, oh, hey, he's going to try to do this. Because it seems like, even for when you started, you wanted to kind of have multiple areas where you would be strong in. Did you feel like that time being able to work with guys that were so different, that kind of helped set you up, have a style that was, easy to kind of flow in no particular area?
Yeah, I mean, during that time, I didn't foresee it as like being able to kind of set my style up, so to speak. Back then, when it came to jiu-jitsu and MMA, we didn't have as much access to the internet and the videos that we have now.
Yeah.
Like back then, like we'd be fortunate to have one black belt on the mat. Like nowadays, you have 20 black belts on the mat. So back then, when you were training mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, that kind of thing, people had their own specific games that they developed, which is something that doesn't necessarily, you don't see it too much in today's games just because of how much access we have to information and that kind of thing. I mean, a couple years ago in jiu-jitsu, for example, the whole idea of leg locks and heel hooks just became like, that's what everyone was doing all of a sudden. Where 10 years ago, if you were a guy in the gym that was going for a heel hook, you're considered to be like the quote-unquote a-hole. Like no one wanted to train you because you can tear someone's knee apart kind of thing. But now it's like that's where the game goes kind of thing. So I'm very fortunate to be able to like train against guys like Matt Hughes and Miguel Torres early on to kind of like develop a good base for what I want my mixed martial arts career to be.
You know, and you mentioned, you know, you're not an old guy by any means, but you've been in it for a long time. But you mentioned now when guys go to the gym and they want to train at the gym, there's the wealth of talent and the bodies that they can go against is so different from when you started. Do you ever tell the young guys starting up like, man, you guys got it good? Like, you know, we can never used to get this sort of training. And like you said, it's not like you could pull up the tape. You can't pull up the videos on YouTube like you can do it now. Back then, you know, you didn't have that access. Do you ever sort of like tease and remind the youngsters coming up how good that they have it?
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but that moment is like, oh, back in my day, that's coming out a little bit more than I would like it to now as time goes on. But I'm grateful for it. I mean, I'm in a very unique position that like there is so much information out there that like a lot of the young fighters can gravitate towards to get their answers. I'm sorry, to get their questions answered, so to speak. But nothing tops actual real life experience or whatever. So when I'm giving advice, when I'm teaching guys, when I'm coaching guys, whatever else it may be, I coach from a very unique perspective. I coach from this perspective of like, hey, look, this is where I fell short. This is where I could have done better. This is what I could have done differently. And I'm able to use like real life experiences to help hopefully these guys learn from my mistakes and not reinvent the wheel, so to speak. Like, hell, my last fight, never did I think in a clinch position I'll get hit with a spinning back elbow, but it definitely knocked the sense out of me. But even now in training, like that's something I'm definitely implementing in my training where it's like I'm showing guys different looks and different things that could happen in certain positions where you would tend to get complacent or settle in like, oh, cool, I got to hold this guy. There's no danger now. Like I'm keeping guys accountable in those positions now based on the experiences that I've had throughout my fighting career.
And I'm glad you brought that up. You know, that was actually going to be my next question. You know, your last fight against Morales, so it didn't go the way you wanted, but were there things that you could take away from that? You know, there's usually always something that you could learn from it, but sometimes it's just a bad day at the office. You know, when you look at that one, was there something that you were able to take away from that?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things that he did really, really well on Fight Night, but overall for me, the biggest thing was keeping that consistency going. Like I know I'm able to fight better than what I showed that night. He had me a better man that night and executed well. Like he did a good job with the spinning elbow. Once the fight got to the ground, he did a good job of not letting me kind of control him and then like get my whiz back, so to speak. He just kept on picking his shots and implementing damage from top position, which led to a TKO eventually. But overall, like for me, it was just like keeping the consistency going. Like, yeah, I fell short in this day, but that doesn't erase the months of work that I did prior to that. I need to keep that consistency going on into the next fight, and that's fortunately what I did leading up to this fight. I mean, I didn't take much time feeling sorry for myself at home, like, oh, boo-hoo, poor me, I lost the fight. I was like, man, that sucks. I hate that feeling. Let's go ahead and erase this loss, kind of speak. We're getting back on track. So I was having conversations with the coaches as far as like when my next opportunity may be and that kind of thing. And I was honestly thinking that like, all right, maybe the only way I fight in 2024 is if someone gets injured and pulls out last minute and I'm a late replacement. So when this opportunity presented itself to be a main event on 6 weeks notice, I'm like, oh yeah, that's plenty of time. Let's do it. That's plenty of time to get the training in, get comfortable, and go out there and be successful.
And I know you're happy to get a main event, but man, here they are again throwing you this up-and-coming killer, you know? Like, I mean, what are your initial thoughts on him? Have you been able to watch him? I mean, he's only been in the UFC. I think he had the Contender Series and maybe 2-3 other fights after that. Were you able to kind of see some tape on him? And what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, it's been impressive thus far. I mean, he has some pretty good kickboxing matches that I've been able to see. Did well in his MMA career. I'm like, though he's a young guy in UFC, the guy has 26 professional MMA fights on his belt. So he's definitely a veteran in this sport in particular, as far as like the skill sets brings to the table. And knowing that the camp that he trains at and his background, I know he's no slouch. I know though he's predominantly a striker, I know he's going to have pretty good wrestling defense, ground game, and things like that as well. So I know I have a tough task ahead of me, and I can't wait to go out there and deliver.
I know he looks at you, he sees that top 15 ranking or that ranking next to your name. You know, so I could see where he sees this and he's like, okay, I know what I get with this win. What do you get with the win over him?
Notoriety. At this point, it's all about like making yourself, letting it be known that you still stand to be a force in the division, so to speak. And I don't do that by fighting guys that I know I can beat. I'll do that by going out there and challenging myself against whomever the UFC throws at me. And this is yet again another example of that. Like I can very easily like, hey, do you guys have any 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds that can fight right now? Like I don't want to fight another up-and-coming killer. But I know that's not what's going to make me happy in the day. I know I want to challenge myself. And right now, being at the place I'm at physically, mentally, emotionally, I know I can still compete in the best guys in the world. And I would honestly feel bad for myself if I were to kind of sandbag and cut myself short by taking an opponent that I know I can beat easily.
Yeah. Well, that kind of, you know, one of the questions I was going to say is if you get the win on Saturday, I mean, do you immediately start looking at names up above you and try to call somebody, or are there rematches that maybe makes sense that you want to maybe revisit?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some rematches on the table that I would definitely want to revisit, but ultimately it's Saturday night first. And then, like, depending on what happens in the division. I mean, we've seen at the light heavyweight division that the guy all the way up to number 8 got a title shot, which is unheard of in a lot of other things, and many people had a lot of different things to say. But in this sport, you just never know how things are going to turn and where things are going to go. For me, it's just more so going out there, getting back on the winning side of things, doing it in impressive fashion, and then being ready for the opportunities to present itself down the road.
Awesome. Well, you kind of almost answered there. Your keys to the victory. What needs to happen on Saturday to make sure that you do get your arm raised?
The biggest thing is being present. I know these guys is very dangerous everywhere else. I can't afford to be complacent at any moment in this fight. I know I'm able to go out there and I'll strike, I'll wrestle, I'll grapple. I can do whatever it takes to get the job done. For me, it's just all about being present and executing at this point.
And Neil, thank you for taking the time. Just to circle back a little bit with what you were talking about with Kenny, you know, just how we all learn from these losses. Difference is, ours aren't public. You know, but how great is it that you're able to just stay grounded after such a long time? And how is that you can have that mindset? Because from Miguel Torres, WEC champion, Hughes, Hall of Famer, champion,
sure.
all the way to now, to stay grounded like that. What are the secrets to that? To not let it get to your head and be on another poster and be just happy with the opportunities and still be a smile on your face at all.
Yeah, man, even going back to my Army days, it's like it's a gift and a curse. I mean, I remember one of the best songs that was out when I was in the military was like the song called American Soldier. And there was a line in that song that specifically said, I can't call in sick on Monday because the weekend's been too rough. And I think about the course of my career, it's been literally just that. There's been plenty of days that I'm just like, fuck, man, I'm really struggling today. Like, I don't know how to get through this, or have this going, or have that going on. And I have two options. I can sit there and wallow in it and be like, oh, poor me, I can't make it through. Or I can, like, suck it up and drive forward. And for the most part, I've done that. And for the most part, it's worked out better for me. And I can't help but, like, rely on that attitude. I mean, right now, if you look at what's going on in my personal life over the last 2 years, my professional life over the last 2 years, like, you would think that's, like, damn, dude, this is loud on his plate. Maybe you should slow down. Why is he smiling? Why is he still enjoying life right now? It's like, I have no other option. It's either I go and feel sorry for myself somewhere, or I say, like, all right, cool. These are the hands I'm dealt in life. I'm going to play them best as possible. I'm going to still find a way to be successful.
100%. Can you disclose anything? Do you want to share anything these 2 years that...
Oh, I mean, it's no... like, it's not like it's, what is it? It's not a secret at this point. I'm going through a very difficult divorce process, had a very lengthy custody battle to be able to be present in my kid's life and that kind of thing. So when you're balancing all of that, it's a very difficult place to find yourself, where it's like you're going to court week after week, month after month to try to, like, fight, be present in your kids' lives. And on top of that, you have to show and be a professional fighter at the same time. Even once you've rewarded 50-50 custody in your kids and you're having to show up, be like, cool, I have to be dad. I can't fall short of being dad. I have to show be the most present, the most active, the most best dad I could possibly be. But at the same time, I have to show and be the best fighter I can be as well. So it's like trying to juggle that balance where it's like I have sparring scheduled on a certain time or a certain day, and it's like, all right, your kid's sick. Well, how do you manage sparring and your kid being sick in the same day? It's like, well, I'm dad. I'm gonna figure it out. So like being able to, like, balance all that and still find the joy in it, still appreciate it, still find the gratitude in it. I'm just grateful for it all. I'm very fortunate to be here.
Man, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful to all the people struggling, and say, like, man, let me use my man Neil as someone to inspire me.
For sure. I mean, like even right now when I look at it, like he brought the fact that it's Veterans Day weekend. I mean, I know what I'm going through is a very difficult task, but I'm not the only one going through it. There are plenty other servicemen and other people that are dealing with a lot of their own baggage, and they're still expected to show up for others who need them or whatever. And being given this opportunity, being given this platform, I'd be ashamed of myself to like not show up the best I could, not for myself, but as encouragement to others as well. Like my kids are gonna have difficult days ahead of them, and for me to like be the guy that kind of falls back, like, oh, life is too tough, I'm gonna sit this one out. Like, no, I've never been that person. That's never been a part of me. I've always showed up and rise to the occasion. I see this weekend being no different.
No, not at all. And obviously you guys are cut from a special cloth. You have to exercise these demons on ESPN Plus for 25 minutes. My goodness. Closing for me, last question, is there any new tricks that we can look forward to this weekend? Because you've been there, done that, been on the poster, been main event, you know what it's like, but how do you keep things fresh?
Yeah, so for me, even when it comes to film, like I'm spending less and less time watching my opponent's film and more time watching my own film from every single fight, and maybe to like take away like, all right, cool, how did so-and-so beat me? Like, I mean, literally, up until a couple fights ago, I can literally go back and look at fights like Lorenz Larkin, Ponzinibbio, who was the other one? Mike Chiesa, in particular. I like it, those three guys in particular, and the particular thing they've done in those fights, and I can actually point out like, oh, cool. If I were to fight me this way, this is how it would come out. And within the first couple minutes of the fight, I can adjust and realize like, all right, cool. This guy's using the Chiesa game plan. This guy's using the Lorenz Larkin game plan. This guy's using this game plan based off of things that I've seen in myself in film. So for me, it's kind of important to kind of like fill those holes and kind of like get better where I'm not making those same mistakes over and over and over, but also being able to react to the kind of fight that my opponent presents me on fight night.
That's awesome, man. Well, can't wait to see it. We got a veteran on Veterans Day weekend. Good luck to you, sir.
Let's go. Go. Thank you, guys.
Testing, testing. 1, 2.
Cool. Do you remember when the first time you were up there, you serenaded us all?
Yeah, it's good times for sure. Yeah. The karaoke vibe, yeah, that's a good vibe, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad everybody enjoyed it for sure. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it certainly was a nice welcome to your personality. I think that's one we've come to love and adore now is your personality out there. You have a unique personality when you come up on the stage.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So you also have a very unique fight style, going in this fight week. What was training camp like coming in here preparing for this fight week?
Yeah, training camp was fantastic, you know what I'm saying? I went hard on the paint. It was a long training camp, you know what I'm saying? That's how I like it, you know what I'm saying? Many weeks of preparation, you know what I'm saying? And, had a lot of the challenges, you know what I'm saying? My training partners were pushing me, you know what I'm saying? That's like, they call it the resistance, you know what I'm saying? That you're going to get that resistance, you know what I mean? You keep pushing through it, and I love it, you know what I mean? Breaking through that, you know what I'm saying? One of the good quotes was, today I can sleep good tonight knowing that I caught the rabbit and I got my feed tonight and I got to eat, you know what I'm saying? But I go to bed and I know tomorrow when I wake up again, I got to go catch that rabbit again tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we were literally just banging it out every day through the training camp, training, you know what I'm saying? The focus, you know what I'm saying? So I'm focused on one goal for this weekend, and that's the victory. Let's go.
Well, then you also get the nice surprise. They give you a call and say, hey, by the way, we're going to make you the co-main event. So what were you doing when you got that call, and how excited did that make you? And did that add any extra pressure to this fight week now that you're going to get so many extra eyeballs on your fight?
Yeah, they didn't call me, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, it was last night I found out. We went to the workout room area to go do our nighttime workout, and then when we were looking at the paper, they showed that that Cody wasn't going to make it to the fight, you know what I'm saying? So I hope he heals up well, whatever ailment he had, you know what I'm saying? Real talk. And then they showed that, yeah, it was, they had me, Ricky T, on the co-main event, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and they knew who to call. You know what I'm saying? They needed a new co-main event. I'm glad they hit me up, you know what I'm saying? Because this is going to be a good one this weekend, you know what I'm saying? Let's go.
When you see something like that kind of surprises you, who gets the first call? Who gets the first phone call to say, oh shit, it's big time now? Did you call anybody to let them know that you got the bump up?
Yeah, I was honestly, last night, I was just really focused on the workout, you know what I'm saying? So when it happened, I was like, oh, this is really cool. So it was just like, me and Matt and Jake and Coach Joey was there, you know what I'm saying? And then we were in the workout room, and then we were like, oh yeah, this is awesome, you know what I'm saying? And then Matty kind of texted Alex maybe, you know what I'm saying? And then after we were done with the workout, I kind of texted a couple of people, you know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So yeah, it was exciting, you know what I'm saying? So it's a great spot. I've been in this position many a times in the co-main event, you know what I'm saying? Co-main event again too. This is my first time being the co-main event, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, this is great. I love fighting here at the Apex, you know what I'm saying? I walked in here today, I smell it, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh yeah, man, I remember living here in 2021, you know what I'm saying? During the Ultimate Fighter tournament, you know what I'm saying? My claim to fame. And yeah, so I know today I'm at my best, you know what I'm saying? I'm at my best, I'm at my oldest, you know what I'm saying? And I'm prepared to perform to my best this weekend and put on my best performance yet. Let's go.
So I guess you're kind of in a unique experience where I know a lot of fighters want to fight in front of crowds, and I'm sure you want to do that as well. And some people are like, oh, I'm fighting at the Apex as opposed to fighting at the T-Mobile. But for you, this place has a lot of fond memories. Like, you feel nostalgic when you come in here because this is where we first really got to see you. So do you appreciate when they offer you the Apex fights? Are you kind of excited to get back in here because it kind of feels like home court for you?
Yeah. I appreciate it, and I'm grateful for it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not the type to be like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just grateful. Yeah, I'm grateful for the opportunity, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because when I was a kid, this is what I wanted. I wanted this, you know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful to have worked myself to this position, you know what I'm saying? I've worked hard for this, you know what I'm saying? So I know I'm not here by coincidence or by chance, you know what I'm saying? I've worked for this, you know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful that I'm here, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready now to fight my heart out this weekend like I always do, you know what I'm saying? God willing, I'm leaving with this victory.
And I know, speaking of the victory, I know the last time we saw you, it didn't go your way, but, you know, in that last fight, are there still things that you can kind of take away from it and learn from to go forward, or was that just possibly just a bad night in the office?
Yeah, I guess I would say on the bad, I would say, yeah, bad night in the office. I knew that when I went into the fight that I wasn't at my best that night. You know what I'm saying? And then also, you know, I fought a strong opponent as well. You know what I'm saying? So for sure, like. And then technically they would, because like you're always looking to improve, you know what I'm saying too. So it's like, yeah, you know, then you could like you go back to the drawing board. What we're gonna do better for the next time, you know what I'm saying? But also deep in my heart, I 100% can say from the bottom of my heart, I know that like emotionally I felt I was off, you know what I mean? My feng shui was off, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like super sick with the fever and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't my best performance. It was a bad night in the office for sure, you know what I'm saying? But you live and you learn. Hey, life goes on, baby. Life goes on. On a positive note, I would say what I took back too from the previous fight in June, though, the positive was, hey man, no matter what obstacle was in my way, no matter like how, you know, bad I felt or whatever, how shitty the circumstances were, you know what I'm saying? I still believed in myself, you know what I'm saying? And I still went for it with all my heart, and I fought as hard as I could, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't going to back down or falter, you know what I mean? Because that's a testament to the toughness that I have, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so I know I'm one of the baddest on the planet, you know what I'm saying? I'm a beast, you know what I'm saying? And now this weekend, here we go, November 9th, it's time to shine again, you know what I'm saying? Come on.
And then speaking of this weekend, you got Bernardo Sopaj opposite of you. Where is he dangerous, and what sort of things are you expecting from him once you get out there in the cage?
Yeah, my opponent, Bernardo Sopaj, he's a strong opponent for sure. That's how I feel about it, you know what I'm saying? So I've prepared myself to the best of my ability, 100%, you know what I'm saying? I'm coming in here at my best, the strongest I've ever been, you know what I'm saying? Sopaj, he a tough opponent, you know what I'm saying? I think he's well-rounded, you know what I'm saying? So this is a good challenge for me right now in my career. All the fighters in the UFC roster, they're all tough, you know what I'm saying? So this is a good test right now. He's a solid fighter too, you know what I'm saying? Even though he only has one UFC fight, you know what I'm saying? Like this was a great fight for the UFC to put in the co-main event spot for sure, you know what I'm saying? Me versus Sopaj, you know what I'm saying? And I would say that I respect my opponent, but I do not fear my opponent. You know what I'm saying? When I step into the octagon, I go in there with one goal and one goal in mind: the victory by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? But you know, after the fight, it's all respect for sure.
Like you said, there's definitely a lot of tough opponents out there. You know, if I could just give me your thoughts on the division overall and what a win against Sopaj does for you within the division.
Yeah, a win over Sopaj for me is just a good victory because this is a good challenge to test myself because Sopaj has a great fighting style, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about that. It's just more experience, you know what I'm saying? I'm testing myself against a strong opponent this weekend. I'm ready to go ahead and face this challenge and beat this challenge, you know what I'm saying? So that's my mentality. And yeah, I guess and then the bantamweight division is just stacked. Everybody knows the bantamweight division is stacked. Every time you put me on a fight card, it's gonna be awesome, you know what I'm saying? So whoever they put me in front of in the bantamweight division is gonna be a great fight.
And last question for me, your keys to the victory. What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday?
Yeah, I just tell myself, perform to my best. I go in there and I perform to my best. Leave it all inside the octagon. Fight with everything in my heart, you know what I'm saying? That's all I could do. Focus on what I could control. Protect myself at all times and attack. Leave it all in the octagon, whether I win by knockout, submission, or decision, whatever.
Thank you for taking the time, Ricky. A quick thank you, by the way, because that fight with Raul was just fantastic. Super fast-paced and a grappler's delight. Well, we expected, but even more so. Off of that learning experience, have you added anything new, any new tricks that we might get to see on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm always constantly improving, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, whenever I step into the octagon on Saturday, y'all just tune in and watch, you know what I'm saying? And y'all gonna see a great fight from me for sure.
Yes, sir. Can't wait to see it, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
1, 2.